It is now 6 p.m. I would like to call to order the regular session meeting for Richland County Council, October 1st, 2024. Meeting to order. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Brenham,
Here.
Pugh,
Here.
McBride,
Here.
Livingston, Teratio, Weaver,
Here.
Barron, Walker,
Here.
Mackey, English,
Present.
Newton.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Let the record reflect that Councilwoman Barron did call me. She's en route. And our chairwoman, Jessica Mackey, is out of town on business. So therefore, as her co-pilot, I'll be flying the plane tonight. Item number 2 on the agenda is the invocation. And we also have the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman Walker, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Tonight, given the invocation, will be my good friend and also a pillar of the community in the Northeast area, which is Pastor Ed Stewart of New Creation Baptist Church. Pastor Ed, if you don't mind, come down to the podium right there. And the floor is yours.
It is my joy to just share a brief word of encouragement to all of you and then start this meeting in prayer. Jesus said in Mark 10:45, the Son of Man came, not to be served, but to serve and give his life a ransom for many. Jesus isn't great just because he was worshiped and adored. He's great by what he did. He emptied himself and he gave himself for the community. As you all have worked so hard to campaign and now lead this county, be encouraged that somebody understands what you go through. They know what it is. He understands what it is to get that email, that call, that upset person. Jesus gets it. So when you get down, look to him, and in him find the strength to lead and lead well. Father, I thank you for these who have made the commitment to serve. Encourage them in this great calling and let them know that you get that. You understand them. And give them the strength to lead our county and lead our county well and with excellence. God, the rest of this meeting, I pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pastor Ed for that word. If everyone would please stand and join me in the pledge. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Item number 4 on the agenda is approval of minutes. Item 4A, the regular session, September 17th, 2024.
Move.
It's a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, any discussion? Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right. On to item 4B, zoning public hearing, September the 24th, 2024.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Item number 5 on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Is there any changes or deletions? Mr. Brown?
Mr. Chair, I believe the county attorney does have a recommended change.
All right, Mr. Wright, you're recognized, sir.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Number 9B3, I'd like to amend it to state state of disaster declaration and an emergency ordinance, both regarding Hurricane Helene.
Heard the recommendations from our attorney to amend the agenda. Any questions or concerns?
Move for approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Right. On to number 6 on the agenda, the report of the attorney for executive session items. Mr. Wright, you recognize?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have 4 items for executive session. There's 6A, personnel matter, grievance reviews and recommendations pursuant to 30-4-70A1. 6B, property inquiry, 1221 Greg Street, pursuant to 30-4-70A2. C, legal advice, clerk of court, judicial center, pursuant to 30-4-70A2. And D, fire services agreement between the City of Columbia and Richland County, also pursuant to 30-4-70A2.
All right, Mr. Wright, do we have any outside counsel?
No.
Okay, so according to council rules, because we don't have any outside counsel, we would take these items up at our last executive session item. Item number 7 on the agenda is citizens' input. Item 7A, for items on the agenda not requiring a hearing. Excuse me, let me repeat that. For items on the agenda not requiring a public hearing. All right. Mr. Livingston, do we have anybody signed up to speak?
I'm telling the new agenda, Mr. Chair, that's 7A, correct?
Yes, sir. All right. A public hearing is closed. On to number 8 on the agenda. Number 8A must pertain to Richland County matters not on the agenda, items in which a public hearing is required and a public hearing has been scheduled cannot be addressed at this time. Mr. Livingston, do we have anybody signed up to speak?
We got one person signed up to speak, and that's Kimberly Jones.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Jones, and I'm a disabled veteran, and I am not just representing myself, but I feel like.
Can we get your address?
Oh, I'm sorry, 9 Mountain Laurel
you-
Court, Columbia. I live in Lost Tree subdivision off of Brickyard, North Brickyard, and I moved here from Orlando, and Orlando is the town of sidewalks. And I ride a wheelchair that was made for sidewalks. And when I owned my house since 2008, I left for health reasons, and I've now come back, and I'm saddened because there's not many sidewalks, and I can get around my subdivision, but if I go out of my subdivision and I look left, there's a very unkept sidewalk that goes down, and it goes past where my veterinary for my service dog is. And if I go a little bit further, there's the massage therapist where the VA sends me to get massage. But I can't reach either one of them because the sidewalk is so unkept. And a lot of times there's a ditch, and the sidewalk actually falls into the ditch. And the sidewalk, in fact, isn't ADA compliant because it's so thin, and a sidewalk should be at least 36 inches wide. And then if I go to the right, the sidewalk goes up a little ways, and then it just stops. And then if you go a little bit further, a sidewalk starts again. And you gotta ask, who designed that? Who in the county designed that? And so for all the veterans that live in Richland County, including at least 3, maybe 4 in my subdivision alone, we can't get out of our subdivision and go anywhere in Richland County unless we're riding in the VA van to go to the VA and back, or
Jones,
somewhere
that-
else.
That sound is the amount of time you had for 2 minutes is up.
Oh,
Let's-
okay.
let's-
So
let's-
I'm
can you wrap
asking
it
the
up for us?
county to think about, one, fixing the sidewalk where I can ride just locally and, but also more widely, sidewalk planning. Please.
Thank you very much. Here, that's the last person signed up to speak for item 8A.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to item number 9 on the agenda, the report of the county administrator. Mr. Brown, you recognize, sir.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, members of council. I have 2 items under general updates. The first item is really just more a reminder for those in the public who have been following the process that this council has taken related to the transportation penny. This council has approved a strategic plan that has 6 goals. 2 of those goals are focused foster of good governance, as well as an aspect of budgeting, being fiscally responsible. And with that being said, this council has approved a process by which it would be talked about in detail in a few minutes in the clerk's report, where there will be upcoming town halls that would describe the process, where we will have a report from the Public Works Director, Transportation Director, Mike Maloney, that will communicate, details of the county's process related to that. So just a reminder, I know we've had to move some meetings, but that process is something that will be ongoing to continue to make sure that good governance is fostered and that citizens are aware of how fiscally responsible the council is trying to be related to the transportation penny process. The next item is just a brief item. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it unless you would like me to spend more time on it. We've given a lot of time the last 48 hours or so. Recently, we provided information through a press conference. We sent a couple of media releases trying to clarify for residents of Richland County that we're going through a process which will allow us to make sure that we can be eligible for any assistance from the federal government related to the recent storms. And we will continue to try to put out information to provide clarity to citizens. The last thing I'll say about that is if we have citizens who have experienced damage in their homes, what we would like for you to do is report that damage by calling us at 803-576-3439. Again, please report that damage at 803-576-3439. Or email us your information and share pictures at ombudsman@richlandcountysc.gov. This will help us create the information that we would need to continue to do our damage assessment process. And so we wanted to make sure that we were able to share that information publicly, Mr. Chair and members of council. That will conclude my general updates, Mr. Chair, unless there are any questions, so I'll pause there for a moment.
Barron, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have any questions, but I do just want to take the opportunity to thank our Richland County staff from the administration all the way down to each individual who is serving our community. I had a conversation with one of my colleagues this week, and, people are asking questions, what is Richland County doing? And one of the things that we resolved is that, if our staff is not out there clearing the roads, then Dominion can't do what they need to do. So we play a vital role in really bringing our community back together and to restore it. And so I just, really want to just say, Mr. Brown, to you and your team, from the top all the way to the bottom, thank you for the efforts that have been going forth and will continue to go forth in the weeks that come.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Recognize, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to take a moment to thank our Sheriff's Department. I have had the privilege to reach out to them this entire weekend, and when I say all it took was a phone call, Sheriff Lott and his deputies were on it. I don't even think it took them 5 to 10 minutes to respond to get citizens the supplies they need, but it's done through their organized efforts of always being available during our neighborhood association meetings. So they were right there, they were able to provide, and I just wanted to give them a shout out, just so everyone knows just how hard they work, and I just appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That does remind me very briefly, our staff can look forward to receiving an email We have had a number of employees ask how they could be of further assistance to the community outside of their normal work. We do, as a county, provide opportunities for employees to work for nonprofits and provide, if you will, a level of volunteerism that we do not count against them. So if you see employees out there volunteering, know that we support that, and we will provide an opportunity to do that. So you'll see an email coming out from the administrator related to that. Mr. Chair, moving on to item A2, the comprehensive plan update on page 21. I'm going to just read the executive summary very briefly. Staff from Community Planning and Development, GIS, and Communications participated in an introductory meeting with Nealon Planning on Monday, September 23rd, 2024. They reviewed the project schedule. The team was given guidance on the needs for the advisory committee and stakeholder groups. And then what we wanted to make sure this council was aware of is that there will be bi-monthly meetings or updates with the planning group. What we want to do is also make sure that you all have provided feedback as was requested related to any stakeholders that you believe need to be a part of that process. What you have listed here as the next item for action will be that they will have 2 meetings with Nealon Planning, which will focus on finalizing the project schedule and community engagement. So it's going to be very vital that if you have folks that you want to participate in that process, please let the staff know so they can be appropriately included. Any questions on that item, Mr. Chair?
Ms. Newton, you recognize.
Thank you. I don't have a question. I have 2 comments. First is, this is a good time for me to thank all the staff who came out to our rezoning town hall, which I think was last week, but a lot has happened since then. So a little unclear. And one of the things that our staff did is they also came out to talk about the comprehensive plan. And so to all the constituents of Richland County, I know that we have a lot going on right now. I would just like to take a moment to emphasize how very important the comprehensive plan is. We had a lot of people come out at different stages to talk about the land development code. Well, the comprehensive plan is what sets those guidelines for what we're saying our communities should be. We absolutely cannot do it without our citizens. And as my children, whatever generation they are, would say, don't sleep on this. We really need everybody to come out and participate in this process. We want to hear from you about the comprehensive plan. So again, thank you to the staff. We are required to update it every 10 years. So it's been a minute since we've done it. Our community has changed. Our community will continue to change. And just to express how very much we want to hear from our constituents. Thank you.
Else? All right, Mr. Brown.
Mr. Chair, item 9B2 falls under the administrator's nomination. These are items that are time sensitive or have some other time associated with them. 9B1 is a resolution improving the 2024 assessment roll for the Villages of Sand Hill Improvement District. This is an annual process that is designed to make sure that the property owners are billed accordingly for the assessments associated with that improvement district. So staff's recommendation is for approval, and this item will require reconsideration.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Branham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Move to reconsider.
Second.
We have a second. We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Branham,
No.
Pugh,
No.
McBride,
No.
Livingston, Teratio,
No.
Weaver,
No.
Barron,
No.
Walker, English,
No.
Newton.
No.
Motion fails.
Mr. Brown, you recognize.
The next item is a grant-related item. This item actually came to us from the Federal Aviation, we actually had to execute this item by the 16th in order to receive the funding. This item was, the funding for this was already included in the airport's budget, but we are still asking officially to have council's approval. So staff requests council's approval of a local match in the amount of $5,515.52 for a Federal Aviation Administration grant that directs the airport consultant, Michael Baker International, to complete the FAA Standards Assessment Project. Again, this funding was already approved in the budget. and it's consistent with a process that we routinely do. So we are asking for approval, and if you approve, this item does also require reconsideration.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Branham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Mr. Brown, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Move for reconsider.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Branham,
No.
Pugh,
No.
McBride,
No.
Livingston,
No.
Teratio,
No.
Weaver,
No.
Barron,
No.
Walker,
No.
English,
No.
Newton.
No.
Motion fails.
All right, Mr. Brown, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 9.3, B3. I'll let the county attorney talk about the details, but what I would just do is briefly describe timelines. Why is this item before you now? With the storm hitting the county last week, and then on Friday being closed for the weather event, with many people being out of power on Friday, Saturday, some still out of power now, some have certainly been restored. There was no opportunity for this council to have an emergency meeting during the weather-related events that were taking place. And so this is your next scheduled meeting. This item would require a meeting in order for you to do, and there was no way you could have done this before the weather event happened because you would not have the information that you have now. So I just want to explain to you why this item was on your agenda now and not sometime prior to today. And with that being said, I turn it over to the county attorney for more details.
Mr. Wright, you recognize, sir.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Regarding the state of disaster declaration, this has already been made by Chair Mackey. Richland County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 5, County Departments, Division 5, Emergency Services, Section 2-139, subsection 3E, gives the authority of the chair of county council to declare a state of disaster. And I will read the first section. As the impact of Hurricane Helene continues in South Carolina, Richland County has implemented emergency planning for anticipated problems and is preparing for emergency actions that may be needed. The effects of Hurricane Helene that may endanger lives and property in Richland County include wind damage, tornadoes, flash flooding, long-term flooding, downed trees and power lines, and other emergency situations. Richland County has opened the Emergency Operations Center and has implemented the Emergency Operations Plan. Activities are underway to respond to the conditions created by the storm and the flooding associated with rain from areas north of Richland County that will move through Richland County, creating additional flooding. This declaration gives the county the ability to do certain things in the emergency situation, which is listed in the declaration, and remains in effect until emergency conditions associated with the storm have subsided and the emergency activities in Richland County are no longer necessary to protect the life and property of our citizens. So that's a declaration that has already been made by the chair. What this body, the council, is asked to do is also approve an emergency ordinance. And it's an emergency ordinance declaring that a localized state of emergency exists within the county of Richland and authorizing the appropriate actions to be taken in connection therewith. And it's regarding Hurricane Helene, which made landfall on the 26th of September, 2024. And there's a declaration of a state of emergency by this council in accordance with sections 5-7-250D of the South Carolina Code of Laws and section 2.31 of the Code of Ordinances for Richland County. The Richland County Council hereby declares that a localized emergency exists and hereby ratifies the county council chair's issuance of a state of disaster declaration. This ordinance shall remain in effect for 60 days from passage until, or unless sooner, terminated by resolution of county council. And it will be effective immediately. This emergency ordinance only takes one reading, so it will become effective upon you voting and passing it.
All right. I entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Newton, you recognize?
Thank you. I just have a question, and I think this may be, I don't know who it's for. It's for someone at that table over there. Don't want to try to confuse things, but we have cleared up some things today regarding the expedited list for federal disasters that was submitted. Just want to clarify that this declaration that we're doing is separate and apart from that, and something that we would have done anyway, not in some way trying to go backwards to fulfill a requirement. If you could just address that.
To be clear and concise, the answer is yes. This process of this declaration for Richland County has nothing to do with the expedited process that you heard discussed at the state level. So as you may also be aware of, there are a number of counties that were a part of that information that was shared earlier by the state that do not have disaster declarations. So this is not contingent on any of that. So this is just something that the county would normally do based off its assessments of what's going on in the county. And our emergency management director did recommend this action as a part of the process that they normally go through.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
All right, you recognize.
I will say that this emergency ordinance would require a 2/3 vote of the body.
Discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Move for reconsideration.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
No.
Pugh,
No.
McBride,
No.
Livingston,
No.
Teratio,
No.
Weaver,
No.
Barron,
No.
Walker,
No.
English,
No.
Newton.
No.
Motion fails.
All right. Item number 10 on the agenda is the report of the clerk to council. Madam Clerk, you recognize.
Thank you, Chairman Pugh. I would like to remind the public that this council has set up multiple town hall meetings to discuss the upcoming penny referendum. I do want to make an announcement that District 2 and 7 has been postponed to further notice, so that town hall meeting will not take place on October the 3rd. October the 7th, we do have a town hall meeting scheduled for District 3 and 7 at Park Lane Park, which will start at 6 p.m. October the 10th, District 5 is going to host a town hall meeting in conjunction with the City of Columbia at Dreher High School, starting at 6 o'clock. On October the 14th, District 10 and 11 will be hosting a town hall meeting at the Sheriff's Substation located on the lower Richland Boulevard, starting at 6 o'clock. On October the 15th, there will be a public hearing held here in council chambers starting at 3:30 p.m. Public will be encouraged to participate during this public hearing as well. October the 21st, District 1 and District 2 will be holding a town hall meeting at Friars Gate Park. And on October the 23rd, District 8 and 9 will be holding a town hall meeting at the R2I2 Conference Center. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item number 11.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Before you go forward,
ma'am.
I just wanted to, officially state that Councilman Pugh and myself, we had to reschedule our town hall last week because of impending weather. This week, we're having to reschedule again because of impending weather. And I do think that it's important to lift up to the general community to note that this is critically important to us. However, we do think that the safety of the residents that will come out to these meetings is just as important. And so I don't want it to be even misconstrued as if this is not of high priority to us. But, when we are trying to plan and make decisions, we want to make them with individuals in mind who may travel. And we don't want what we want is that when we host these town hall meetings, that we get the most involvement as possible, because we want you to know what it is that you'll be voting on in November. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barron. I appreciate you for sharing that. Item number 11 on the agenda is the report of the chair. Madam Chair didn't have anything that she would like to share with the body. Number 12 is approval of consent items.
Mr. Pugh,
Ms. Newton, you recognize.
move to approve items 12A through 12K.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Vice Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I guess this question is for the administrator. Are there any items in the consent items that in particular require reconsideration?
From what I can tell, it looks like all of them are available. No, that's the second reading item on there.
Yeah.
So, let me break it down, thank you for asking. H for operational services, I for the Department of Public Works, J for the Department of Public Works, and K for the Department of Public Works require reconsideration.
Thank you. Move to reconsider items 12H, I, J, and K.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please, for reconsideration?
Brenham,
No.
Pugh,
No.
McBride,
No.
Livingston,
No.
Teratio,
No.
Weaver,
No.
Barron,
No.
Walker, English,
No.
Newton.
No.
Motion fails.
Thank you. Item 13, third reading items. 13A, an ordinance authorizing the levying of the Avalorian property tax, which together with prior years carried over and other state levies or any additional amount appropriated by the Richland County Council prior to July 1, 2024, would provide significant revenue for the operations of Richland County government during the period of July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
Approve, Mr. Chair.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Entertain a motion for reconsideration.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for reconsideration. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, could you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
No.
Pugh,
No.
McBride,
No.
Livingston, Teratio,
No.
Weaver,
No.
Barron,
No.
Walker, English,
No.
Newton.
No.
Motion fails.
All right, item number 14, report of Economic Development Committee. Mr. Livingston, you recognize, sir.
Chair, item 14A, a resolution approving assignment of the public infrastructure credit agreement by and between Catawba Apartments LLC, Richland County, South Carolina, authorizing the county's execution and delivery of an assignment of assumption of public infrastructure credit agreement in connection with such assigned and authorized other matters thereof. And the committee's recommendation is for approval. With this particular item, we're just simply transferring the from one company to the next, but nothing changes in terms of the agreement and so forth. And the committee's recommendation was for approval.
All right, you've heard the committee's recommendation. According to council rules, it doesn't need a second. Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker, English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Mr. Chair, move for reconsideration.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for reconsideration. Discussion? Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
No.
Pugh,
No.
McBride,
No.
Livingston,
No.
Teratio,
No.
Weaver,
No.
Barron,
No.
Walker? English?
No.
Newton?
No.
Motion fails.
All right, Mr. Livingston, you recognize.
Item 14B, an ordinance authorizing execution and delivery of an amendment to the infrastructure credit agreement by and between Richland County, South Carolina, and Gable Oaks Housing Association LP, and other related matters. The committee's recommendation is for approval for first reading. This is for this item.
All right, you've heard the committee's recommendation. By council rules, it doesn't need a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Brenham, you recognize.
could someone just provide a little bit more color or commentary about the need for the requested amendment?
Mr. Rubel, you recognize, sir.
About to do it, but he may do a better job.
Yes, sir. I think this was about 2 or 3 years ago that we had a developer that came in and wanted to purchase and make improvements to the Gable Oaks community in North Columbia. At the time, they were looking to do a 45-year loan or grant program that gave them a special tax break. We set up a tax break, a 90% tax break based off that 45-year loan. That loan or that program went away, so the financing didn't occur like it was supposed to. That forced us back to the negotiating table. We reduced from 45 years to 10 years. They've gone through about 4 now, so it'd be 6 years more of a 90% credit. This was all based on an assumption that there was an affordable housing tax break that gave basically affordable housing, paid no taxes. So the committee at the time viewed a 90% tax break if the company made improvements to Gable Oaks as a good investment. So that's kind of a quick layman's summary. I wish I had an attorney here to explain it better.
You have the floor.
Just follow up, so it's extending the tax break period from 4 years to 10 years, is that right?
It's reducing it from 45 to 10. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Ms. McBride, you recognize.
This is an area several years ago that I worked on, and I put an insurmountable amount of time in it and worked with the attorneys. I will be voting no because I have some other questions. Now, I'm not voting no. I just want council to know that I'm not voting no against it, but I have some other questions, so that's why I'm voting no. And because it's the first reading, then I would like to get those questions answered.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am. You recognize Mr. Ratio.
Thank you. So at the, since we're reducing the number of years from 45 to 10, and there's I guess, a no tax on the affordable housing part, what happens at the end of the 10 years for those affordable units?
I think the program they were hoping to get, the 45-year financing, that fell through. It's primarily affordable housing, just in practicality. They've made improvements. I think we considered that when we suggested the reduction in years.
And so I guess my question, the heart of my question is, will there be an impact or an increase on those affordable units for the people who are in those housing units?
No, ma'am, I don't think there will be.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Rubel.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Oh, we have a motion and a second on the floor?
This is the first reading item.
It's just the first reading. Okay. So we have a motion and a second on the floor?
It doesn't require one, it's a committee report.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right. So, Madam Clerk, call for the vote, please.
Brenham?
Yes.
Pugh?
Yes.
McBride? No. Livingston?
Yes.
Teratio?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
Walker?
Yes.
English?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Item number 15, report of the Office of Small Business Opportunities Ad Hoc Committee. That would fall on me. Item 15A, we went into executive session to discuss our disparity study, and that concludes my report.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Just to clarify that that executive session took place at the committee meeting, not here.
Yes, right, ma'am, at the committee meeting. And no decisions were made. No action required. All right. Number 16 on the agenda is the report of the Strategic Planning Ad Hoc Committee. Mr. Livingston, you recognize?
Yeah, we don't have an action item, but just a quick report. The planning committee has met with the P3 focus group and continue to follow the P3 roadmap, that's included in your package. And some of the kind of things that the group has been dealing with and talking about was, board composition as relates to the P3, organizational structure, potential areas to focus on with the P3, and also, what role the private sector to play and engage in, and also the process of getting a name and branding for the P3. So that's just kind of up there. So there's a meeting up with the final report. That concludes the report of the.
Thank you, Mr. Livingston. Item 17A, the report of the Transportation Ad Hoc Committee. Mr. Walker, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is item 17A, an ordinance authorizing a deed to the City of Columbia to water lines running under and along the dirt road paving project at Summer Haven Drive from Haven Circle to Dead End. The committee recommends that council approve the attached ordinance, which acts to convey certain water lines and components constructed by Richland County as part of the Summer Haven Drive Dirt Road Paving Package in, located within county-owned right-of-way to the City of Columbia for the purpose of operating and maintaining said water lines and related component parts, with the purpose of delivering water utility services to adjacent property owners. That is the recommendation of the committee, Mr. Chair.
You've heard the recommendation of the committee. Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, could you call for the vote, please?
Chairman, will this be for item 17A, B, and C?
No, 17.
Okay. Brenham?
Yes.
Pugh?
Yes.
McBride?
Yes.
Livingston?
Yes.
Teratio?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
Walker?
Yes.
English?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes?
Motion approved.
Mr. Walker, you still have the floor.
Chair, item 17B, which is project name clarification for 2024 needs assessment. In essence, DOT and Richland County staff reviewed the names and abbreviations used in the Penny ordinance, along with other related documents. There were some misspellings, as well as some roads and streets that were inappropriately abbreviated. And so the committee recommends approving the changes and/or clarifications and its widening projects, names and abbreviations. That is the recommendation of the committee.
All right, thank you, Mr. Walker. You heard the recommendations of the committee. Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Brenham?
Yes.
Pugh?
Yes.
McBride?
Yes.
Livingston?
Yes.
Teratio?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
Walker?
Yes.
English?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right, Mr. Walker, you still have the floor, sir.
Mr. Chair, item 17C, this is the Percival Road sidewalk award of the construction contract. The committee recommends awarding the contract to AOS Specialty Contractors, Inc. For $2,991,744.70 with a 15% contingency, which brings it out to a grand total of $3,440,506.40. $2.5 million of this project will be subsidized by a grant, from CTC funds. Those are dollars that poured into our county from the state, and the difference will be covered from the Penny Sidewalk Fund. That's in the amount of $1,490,506. That is the recommendation of the committee.
All right, you've heard the recommendation of the committee. Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
And
Thank,
Mr. Chair, and Mr. Brown, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I would move for reconsideration on items 17B and C.
Second.
all right, we have a motion and a second for reconsideration. Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
No.
Pugh,
No.
McBride,
No.
Livingston,
No.
Teratio,
No.
Weaver,
No.
Barron,
No.
Walker,
No.
English,
No.
Newton. Motion fails.
Mr. Chair, that concludes the report of the Transportation Ad Hoc Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Item number 18 on the agenda is the report of the Detention Ad Hoc Committee. I will give that report. During our committee meeting, we talked about a few updates at the Alvarez Glen Detention Center. Item 1, we talked about recruiting and retention. We talked about infrastructure update and security updates, as well as any other updates. Mr. Brown, you recognize, did I miss anything, sir?
No, sir, Mr. Chair, but if I could right here add that as a part of the recruiting and retention on October 25th, there is a scheduled job fair for Alvarez Glen Detention Center. It will happen on a campus at 201 Jordan Mark Dow, which is at the detention center location from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And so we are looking for additional employees, both to serve as detention officers, and there is also some work for a law clerk position as well. So want to add that, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brown. All right, item 18B is we talked about a new detention facility or expansion. Some of the things we discussed were security needs, capacity needs, resources and infrastructure needs, general space needs, and stakeholder committees. Mr. Brown, did I miss anything on there?
No, Mr. Chair.
All right, that concludes my report. If there's no questions. All right, and no action is needed. Number 19, other items.
Move to approve, sorry. Move to approve items 19A through G.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion?
Sorry, I was slow on that.
Okay, Ms. Newland, we depend on you for that. All right. If not, Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker, English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
move for reconsideration. Do the items F and G also need reconsideration? Yes, okay. Move for reconsideration of all of those items.
Second.
Rachel, can you state those items for the record, please?
Sure. 19A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Sorry.
Right.
Listen.
Have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor for reconsideration. Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
No.
Pugh,
No.
McBride,
No.
Livingston,
No.
Teratio,
No.
Weaver,
No.
Barron, Walker, English,
No.
Newton.
No.
Motion fails.
Item number 20 is executive session. Mr. Wright, you recognize?
Yes, the items are the same items under 6A, B, C, and D, pursuant to 30-4-70A 1 and 2.
All right. I entertain a motion for executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All right. We got a motion and a second for executive session. Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker, English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right, we're now in executive session. I'd like to entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and second on the floor to come out of executive session. Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston. Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes?
Motion approved.
All right, we went into executive session to receive some updates. No action was taken while we were in executive session.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Newton, you recognize.
I have a motion regarding item 6A.
Yes, ma'am.
I move to approve the grievance committee recommendations as presented in executive session for grievance numbers OS 1146, AC 8346, AC 2846, and OS 5356.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio.
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker, English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Move to reconsider.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor for reconsideration. Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
No.
Pugh,
No.
McBride,
No.
Livingston,
No.
Teratio.
No.
Weaver,
No.
Barron,
No.
Walker, English,
No.
Newton.
No.
Motion fails.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Barron, you recognize.
thank you. In reference to item 6B, I move to authorize the county attorney to execute the property agreement as presented in executive session.
Second.
Mr. Brown, you recognize.
Mr. Wright appreciates that, but unfortunately, you can only direct the
I-
county administrator.
I apologize.
Ms. Barron, do you mind repeating that motion,
I
please?
will one more time. I'm looking at him saying another person's name.
Thank you, ma'am.
I move to authorize the county administrator to execute the property agreement as presented in executive session.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker, English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
move to reconsider.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor for reconsideration. Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, could you call for the vote, please?
Brenham,
No.
Pugh,
No.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston, Teratio,
No.
Weaver,
No.
Barron,
No.
Walker, English,
No.
Newton.
No.
Motion fails.
All right, we are on to item number 21, which is motion period. There was no motion submitted to the chair. So that means we move on to item number 22.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor for adjournment. Any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, please call for the vote.
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker, English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right, we are now adjourned.